Now we're going to hear from Mr. Rawlings, who will educate us on a variety of financing techniques that we could all possibly use to help with certain capital improvements. So let me introduce Mr. Rawlings.
How's everybody doing today? I've enjoyed the conference so far. It's been pointed out to me that the only thing standing between you and happy hour is me. And so I'm going to, I'm feeling a little pressure to be extra brief, so I'm going to try to be very brief. What I want to talk about is how to, in difficult times, like we're having economic difficult times, how do you still keep your community moving forward, and how do you get things built? To give you a little bit of background, Menifee is in southwest Riverside County. It's about 50 square miles. It's a new city, about 3 years old, a little bit more than that. It's 50 square miles, 82,000 people. And its main feature is it's split right down the middle by a mile-wide river, and you can't get from one side to the other. And I'm just joking about the river. It's split by the 215 freeway, but it might as well be the Mississippi River, because there are only 3 ways to get from one side to the other. And so we have a lot of folks that commute in our community. We have a lot of folks to the east of us that are not in our community, but they want to go through our community to get where they're going. And they can't. There's 3 subprime bridges to get across. So this is a problem that is a huge problem for the city. We have a difficult economic time, new city, we're trying to create reserves, we're trying to create stability, and yet we have this huge problem. So what I want to talk a little bit is how we can use some unique creativity to get things like this done, even in this environment. So Southwest Riverside is blessed with a lot of community partners, and they look at things regionally. We have the County of Riverside, we have the Riverside Transportation Commission, we have the Western Riverside Council of Governments, and all of these are set up to regionally solve transportation issues, and they worked great when the economy was booming. When the economy was booming, everybody was building houses and they were paying these fees. And I think of it like a bunch of neighbors and they're all raising barns. And everybody says, well, you come over and help me raise your barn, and then I'll come over and help you raise your barn. And we were the last person with the barn to be raised. So the region moved forward, paid all of these fees, our area paid into those fees, and wonderful programs. But when the economy changed, it just stopped working. And we're standing out in the middle of the field and nobody came to help us put our barn up. So what we did is we did 3 key things. We looked at how can we leverage the partners that we have, less funds and so forth, but how can we get them to focus on us? How can we make it a worthy investment to invest in Menifee? And what we decided is the best way to do that was to put in some seed money, to create a leverage so that for every dollar that these regional groups spent, they would get a big payoff in the form of larger improvements that otherwise wouldn't be made or would take longer. So we did 2 key things. We negotiated with our development community, and we basically said, we don't control this regional fees that are paying. We want to control it. So we're going to trade you, in some certain very careful instances, additional value for additional fees. So for example, we did one agreement where we agreed to additional units in a development. Above that limit, they paid an additional $9,000 a unit fee to the city for the city's transportation needs. Now that's above and beyond what they would pay to these regional groups, but they're not paying them because, as I said earlier, nothing's happening. So that has created a pool of money that's a good deal for the development community and for the region, and it specifically helps the city of Menifee. The second thing that we did is we decided that we would leverage the revenue sources that we had. So we looked very closely at our gas tax and our Measure A funds, and we decided that while we can, over the next 1,000 years, we're going to be able to do a lot of work with that. How can we leverage that to get these bridges built? And so what we did is a total road improvement certificate of participation financing, where we went to California communities. We said, here's what we want to do. We want to borrow about $20 million, which was a little bit more than half of the cost of the main bridge that we needed to build to get transportation to work in our community. And our theory was that would incentivize our regional partners to move us to the top of the list and to get this thing going. And I'm happy to say that we were able to sell those bonds. New City came out right out of the blocks, 3 years old. We were able to sell those. We had an A rating, 4.26%, 30 years. I almost died when I heard that. Fabulous deal. We were able to raise that money, and then we could go to our partners and say, hey, look, we need $37 million to build this. We've got 20. We've got 19. We've got, here's how we want to do it. So we were able to get our project put to the top of the list because others could see how it could come together and get completed. And so we're real proud of that. And with that, I think I will be available for questions. Thank you so much for your attention today.
Okay, if anyone has any questions, please step up to the